Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. This is my first Casper event, and holding it at the Western Digital home turf is very special for me. In the past 3 years, Western Digital has been recognized 7 times by the World Economic Forum as a global leader. And we did it with adoption of AI and our unwavering commitment to sustainability. You see in the background, Lighthouse. A Lighthouse Award is given to factories who are trailblazing in the fourth industrial revolution adoptions. I myself led the transformations. It is not easy. And so today I'd like to share the stories of our transformations and give you some takeaway in terms of guiding principles, how we become world leaders. And hope that these guiding principles are helpful to you, that you can take them to your own functions and your company. Well, we are in the fourth industrial revolutions. Every 100 years, the world goes through an industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution is signified by the availability of IoT sensors, the speed of computing, the cloud storage and edge storage, so that artificial intelligence can enable very fast decision-making process and automated process. So industrial revolution gives excitement, but also brings fear, right? Whenever there's change, whenever there is a technology revolutions, there's change that we will be outdated. And the way to address that is really to lean forward. We have to adapt and change and innovate, or we will lose competitiveness. The background is a picture of our factory, a flash backend factory. A couple of years ago, you can see a typical factory with in a clean room, operators wearing bunny suits, and they are feeding the machines right now. But currently, at the bottom is a picture of how our factory looks like. In addition, for this factory being awarded the World Economic Forum's Global Lighthouse Network, the factory is actually featured at this year's Davos. So if you want to look at how a leading edge semiconductor flash backend factory looks like, search for that clip from the Davos. Well, we were talking about AI everywhere. Do you know that manufacturing is really lagging in the adoptions of AI? There are 10 million manufacturing facilities around the world. The studies from McKinsey says that actually 70% of them are still in pilot purgatory, never really scaled. So to that extent, in 2018, World Economic Forum and McKinsey started the Global Lighthouse Network. The destination is to award companies and factories who are trailblazing in adopting the fourth industrial revolutions. To date, there's only 153. 10 million versus 153. What does that tell you? It is really, really hard. It is really, really hard to adopt AI in manufacturing. Western Digital have 5 of these lighthouses. We have the first in the country of Malaysia, first in the country of Thailand, and first in the country of the Philippines. This is about adopting technology so that you can get operational excellence and financial return. To that end, a few years ago, we also looked into sustainable operations. So Western Digital's factories is also awarded the first sustainability lighthouse in Asia and first sustainability lighthouse in China. How do we get here? People ask me, Jackie, how did you do it? Well, I told you about leading transformation 10 years ago, and then it's not easy. Every transformation takes time. So around about a couple years into the transformation, we started adoptions. 4 years ago, I asked the questions. How do you know what good looks like? Is this good enough? What is world-class? So I searched around and found the Global Lighthouse Network. I look at the criteria. Well, it's very objective. It asks you about technology that you adopt, how much operational KPI you gain, and how much financial KPI you gain. And also look at whether you are adopting technology, connecting with your partners, your suppliers, the customers, and you bringing your workforce along with you. I really like that objective, criteria. The process is very, very rigorous. So I asked them, well, what is the success rate? They told me, maybe less than 15%, right? Little I found out that later it's actually less than 5%. So when I studied the Lighthouse roadmap in year 2000, I found that there's many lighthouses in China and many lighthouses in Europe. As you can see, the Industrial Revolution and where the manufacturing is, right? But there's no lighthouse in the country of Malaysia and the country of Thailand, where Western Digital has the largest footprint. So I took the initiative that let's become the first lighthouse in Malaysia and first lighthouse in Thailand. So we did it. So principle number one, in order to become world-class, you have to decide you want to be world-class. That's why we enter the Global Lighthouse Network destination process. So let me talk a little bit about AI everywhere. Where can you adopt AI? People will think that, well, it is only manufacturing, maybe just the factory floor. Well, it is, right? But if you look at the end-to-end value chain, you started with suppliers and with customer. You have end-to-end product development, end-to-end planning, and end-to-end delivery. You procure parts, you manufacture parts, you go through your supply chain, and you deliver to the customer. I bet 90% of you sit in one of these quadrants, which means that you can adopt AI in your daily work. So let me explain a little bit more about our journey and what type of achievement that we got. The factory in Malaysia, the flash backend factory, the principle is lights out. In the manufacturing floor, you will see a lot of machines, traffic light chart, and then operators feeding the machines, maybe some document paperwork. At the time, we were faced with labor challenges. Labor cost is high. The orders are coming in, we don't have enough throughput. Machine utilization is not high enough. And then people always make mistakes, right? So there's a lot of quality issues. Lights out mean that you take the people factor out of it. You use robot to feed the machines. You use algorithms to determine whether the machine is performing well or not, and use algorithm to determine the quality of the product. So where are the people? The people are in a control room. In the control room, remote assisting the machines. With that, we get 360% labor efficiency improvement. We gain OEE, and then we also reduce quality excursions. So that gives us 32% factory cost improvement. At the same time, with that, we improve agility, the reduction of product inventory as you have visibility of your product and your lead time. And I talk about that we bring people along with us. Right? In this journey, 42% of our manufacturing workforce were upscale. And that's the story of Malaysia. Let's talk about the story in a Prachuap battery factory, a HDD factory in Thailand. For this factory, we look at an end-to-end approach. We did have many nice manufacturing use cases using AI to improve the combination of our heads and media, improve the yield. We look at AI to the way we test and make it more efficient. But we look at end-to-end. For example, we do procure a lot of parts, hundreds of parts. And all of us, many of you in the procurement, you will, stock your safety stock, right? Because you're worried about disruptions. But if you can predict disruptions and exactly where location the disruptions, you could be more agile in the way you procure, and then you reduce your inventory. That's how you get procure cost improvement. Similarly, you connect your product to the end customer. For our HDD, our products at the end of the customer, we know how their performance is, and we know the parameters. And a lot of time we get returns because no fault found, right? It's actually not our fault. So how can we get more efficient? We use AI to determine the health of the product, and then we proactively address. Sometimes it's our fault, sometimes it's really a no fault found. But with that insight, you can take actions early. Similarly, during the pandemic, we use AI. Logistics is about optimizing your shipment, optimizing your costs, and optimizing your route. So if you use AI, you can develop algorithm to achieve all that, and that reduces logistics costs. At the same time, we bring our people along with us. Now I want to transition about sustainability. We talk about this, about operational improvement, cost improvement. It's about profit. End of the day is the profitability of the company. But we also need to address the planet. To that end, China's first sustainability lighthouse is also a flash beacon in the city of Shanghai. And I want to just brought about 2 use cases that we use AI. Most important about global warming is about emissions, and 70% of emissions coming from industrial operations. The way we generate emissions is from using energy, and we have to use the energy to propel the facility. You need to use energy to propel this auditorium, right? In the industrial manufacturing, you need energy to propel and your facilities, your machines. So the team look at IoT sensors, thousands of them, connecting all the facilities and the equipment, and manage understanding the energy usage. And they found some machines are actually more energy consuming versus the other. So we take away those machines, and sometimes you have abnormality, and you do that. So with that, we achieve 50% emission per petabyte improvement. There is about emission, there's water and waste. Water is really, really important because of scarcity of water. Many of the semiconductor factory will look into areas, build factories, and you look at whether you have water, right? So most of the industrial companies use product recycling systems. The highest you get is 75%. We were able to get to 95%. And how do we do that? Again, using AI, measuring the quality of the water and intelligently adjust the dynamic balance of the filtration, we get to 95%. That's how we achieve sustainable operations and the Lighthouse network of sustainability lighthouses. Well, is the job easier now? AI is a big boom. Is the job easier now? Can we get the adoption faster? Actually, it's more challenging. The World Economic Forum predicts that there is 10x growth in technology disruptions, but we don't have the manpower, we don't have the people, we don't have the skill to achieve that. 43% of the organization currently saying that we have skill gap in the organizations. Well, Western Digital have the same challenge. How do we accomplish? How do we accomplish that in midst of these challenges? The secret sauce is rest in our people, augmenting our people. What does augmentation, what does empowering our people means? It means that you augment their physical and cognitive capability by providing an environment that they can work hand in hand with technology. I talk about transformations. How do you make transformation happen? You have to decide you want to be a winner. Second, you need a blockbuster win. You need to work with people to find a blockbuster win. So 2 years into the transformation, we found there's a blockbuster applications. Many of you in the semiconductor industry, you know that it takes time to manage to build a product, but you take a lot of time testing them. And also, most of the products are good, so you spend wasting time testing something that are perfectly good. At the time, we spent a lot of capex in the equipment, testing equipment. So we had the idea that, well, we have collected a lot of data. Engineers like to collect a lot of data. You collect a lot of data from the manufacturing process. You actually should develop algorithm to predict the health of the product. And you can say that, well, this product I predict to be really, really healthy, then I can test less, right? And the one that are maybe walking wounded, you want to test more. The idea is, is quite sound. The important things is developing the algorithm. And I thought that, well, developing algorithm is difficult. Actually, it took us only 3 months to develop the algorithm. The algorithm developed, we did the test, and we passed the quality. And you know who is stopping it? The engineer. The functional engineer come in to say that, well, Jackie, I don't understand the algorithm. I understand how I do FA, how I do, failure analysis, categories and stuff. This algorithm, picking 2,000 parameter and coming to like 150 with this mathematical model, I don't understand and I don't want to implement. A real story. I went to talk to the VP of engineering and put 2 of them in the room. I said that, well, team, you can stop this process and go back to your day-to-day job. Best case, in 1 quarter, you get a 5% yield. You get a 5% yield, wow, kudos, save a lot of money. Couple of quarters later, nobody remembers you. Nobody will remember this glorious thing you did 3 quarters ago. But everybody will remember you that you are the first factory to take AI and machine learning into production in your testing. I was able to convince them to adopt. And this is sounded, I love it, a lot like a prophecy, but the Lighthouse that we had, one of the use case was AI machine learning assist test time reductions. Well, I talk about this, I think Michael will not be very happy, huh? Advantest is providing testers, so we are like reducing our testers spend. But that is how you, one of the use case that we have. We're using a lot of these use cases. So that's about the second principle, which is work with your people and find a blockbuster use case and deliver that so that people can see how success look like. Well, you need to get more people along. So going back to the story about Malaysia and Thailand, when we look at the criteria on the Lighthouse, wow, really, really, really stringent. Need to be more than 15 use cases. Operational KPI need to be double digit, and financial, you better get to 30%. How do we get there, right? And chances is only 5% success rate. Well, at the time, I worked with the leader on the flash backend and the HDD factory. I said, let's go do it. You don't know. If you don't know, you just like, let's try. So with that, we summon everybody, right? We have use cases. And then we know that we need to, some of them are only 10% improvement. So let's get more sophistication into it, more intelligence. And are these use cases all fully deployed? Some of them are not fully deployed. We did it, all right? So bring the people along with you. And then we were the first Lighthouse in Malaysia, first Lighthouse in Thailand. I personally, as Mike introduced, I spent 5 years in Malaysia and Thailand, working with the factory hands in hands. I know their working life. I know that they will be proud to validate their work and being shown as the nation's first. And we did it together. So the topic about this symposium is about AI everywhere, artificial intelligence. And the principle I brought in is that if you want to get AI everywhere, you need to bring people in. And people have authentic intelligence. By the way, I did not create this word authentic intelligence myself. I read a book and thought it was really, really cool. What does authentic intelligence mean? Authentic intelligence means that every one of us have our own unique talent. and our own unique experience. It is through unleashing the power and the talent of our people, marrying the authentic intelligence and the artificial intelligence, that you get adoptions. So the principle of being a world-class leader, number one, you have to decide that you want to be a leader. Number two, work with the people, find a blockbuster win, and get it to implementation. Number three, you have to take appropriate risks. Bring people along. Even though the chance doesn't seem very high, you take risks, you get people along, and you do that. And that is AI everywhere. Thank you.